Good people? Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for me. So, I just finished watching an interview between Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn as they begin their promotional push for their fight that's to take place in September for Mexican Independence Day. Now, there are a lot that you can take away from this fight. One, I think it signals that the Canelo era is over. You had Benavidez, he had the Cinco de Mayo slot that has gone to Canelo for like the last 5 years when he beat up Zurdo Ramirez. And now we have Ryan Garcia facing Conor Benn. So it definitely appears that the mainstream boxing world, especially when you're talking about the Latin American, Mexican American sphere of boxing, is ready to move on past Canelo. So it looks like Canelo is taking a back seat now. You know, you have two emerging Mexican American stars in David Benavidez and Ryan Garcia. Even have Andy Ruiz, who could maybe make a return to the forefront if he's able to string together a few victories. He's got a fight coming up against Damian Neba, the Pole who fought Caballero a few months ago. So yeah, interesting to see that Canelo is finally starting to recede a little bit in terms of his commercial reach and his brand value. As far as the fight itself, I mean, listen, they're gonna sell it. I mean, Conor Benn is definitely there to sell it. He's talking trash. He's got the blonde hair, the blonde cornrows. He's being very brash, being very arrogant. So from a marketing standpoint, these guys are gonna do everything they can to market the fight. Now, of course, we know that Ryan Garcia and his dad are not above bringing race into a boxing competition, right? Obviously, his dad commenting on Bill Haney's nappy afro, Ryan Garcia saying fuck niggers. Once he said fuck niggers, I said fuck him. It's hard for me to really support someone who uses that kind of language. Like I root for fighters from every ethnic background, but once someone says something like that, and then of course you see Ryan Garcia licking boots, kissing Donald Trump's ass. So we know where his mind is at. We know where his father's mind is at when it comes to these issues. They're both bigots. And so I have no love for Ryan Garcia, to put it bluntly. I mean, neither one of them are likable. I mean, 'cause, Conor Benn definitely gives off the spoiled brat vibes, the Nepo baby vibes. He's someone who just refused to take responsibility for a positive PED test. So he's not exactly the most likable guy. But I will say he is hardworking. Right, he's a Nepo baby, but he definitely puts in the graft, definitely puts in the hard work, and is willing to put himself out there. Right, this is the first 50-50 fight of his career. Right, people could say the Eubank fight, but Eubank was so weight drained, he was so old, and Conor Benn was taking advantage of every clause he could. To try and weaken Eubank, which I'm not a fan of, and I do think it reveals something about his character. When you're a smaller fighter and you challenge a bigger fighter, but you put in all of these weight stipulations, it taints the victory, right? You won, but not really, because your opponent got into the ring effectively malnourished. So I'm never a fan of that. Conor Benn's kind of been touting that as the crown jewel of his CV, but the fact of the matter is he hasn't fought strong competition. Like his best win is either a weight trained Eubank or a 50-year-old Chris Algieri. He just doesn't have the resume. So setting my strong bias against Ryan Garcia, who is a bigot, setting that to the side and being objective about boxing. Based off the CV, I would make Ryan Garcia a favorite. I mean, there's just no question. He's been in there with Tank. He's been there with Rolly. He's been there with Devin Haney, Luke Campbell, Barrios, Duarte. Ryan Garcia does have a strong resume in terms of the names that he's fought. But when you dig a little bit deeper, I mean, obviously he quit on his knees and begged a midget and Tank Davis for mercy when they fought. And people always want to say, well, he was weight trained. Tank drug him down. One, Ryan Garcia had been campaigning at lightweight. Point number two, he was always the bigger fighter at 135. People never ever mention him as a weight bully at 135. Somehow Devin Haney was a weight bully, right? But Ryan Garcia, who is the same size, if not bigger than Devin Haney, also campaigned at 135 to get easy wins against smaller fighters, right? He was a weight bully. So, yeah, Tank again played the rehydration clause game, but it's not like Ryan Garcia hadn't, up until that point, been a career lightweight. That's what he had been. So neither one of them are shrouded in glory in this situation. So yeah, he quit on his knees against Tank Davis. Has a solid win against Duarte. I'll give him that. That was a solid win, right? Definitely looks like Christopher Hitchens seemed to kind of duck that fight. We'll never know the truth. Was he really sick? We don't know. But Duarte has proven that he's a solid fringe world level light welterweight kind of guy. You know, on his day, he could beat one of the big names if he comes correct and full of confidence and having a good camp. You know, he's one of those kind of fighters. Solid, good, but not great. Then, of course, we have the Devin Haney fight, which, again, all the racist stuff he and his dad set aside, you know, all that notwithstanding, he cheated. There's no other way to look at it. He cheated, right? He deliberately missed weight. And I hate it when people say, well, it was only 3 pounds. Who cares about 3 pounds? That immediately tells me you don't know shit about boxing or combat sports, because there's a difference between losing weight and cutting weight, right? When you or I, you know, average Joes, go to the gym and decide, hey, I'm gonna cut back on the burgers and the French fries and the pizza and the ice cream, and I'm gonna bump up the cardio and do a little intermittent fasting, and we drop weight in a healthy manner gradually over time, and we lose 3 pounds in, let's say, 2 weeks, right? That's not gonna be that taxing on the body. When you're cutting weight, the hardest part of the weight cut is losing the last 3 to 5 pounds. So if you're trying to make 140, which was the weight that Garcia and Haney fought at, when you get to around 145, that's when you start seeing guys in sweatsuits, in saunas, rubbing an ice cube on their forehead so they don't pass out, turning up the heat in their hotel room and covering themselves in towels and doing all kind of crazy stuff to lose weight, right? So they're depleting their bodies, but more importantly, they're dehydrating their brains, which, you know, can lead to, you know, cerebral bleeding, brain bleeding, tears, serious injuries, right? That's why you normally see deaths in boxing in the lower weights, because of how dehydrated the brain becomes during the weight cutting process. So if you have a guy like Ryan Garcia who deliberately decides to miss weight and not deplete himself, and you have his opponent who does go through with the full weight cut like a professional should, that's a huge advantage, right? So again, whenever people say, oh, it's only 3 pounds, what's the big deal? You're immediately exposing yourself as someone who's totally ignorant about boxing and the weight cutting process. To add insult to injury, Ryan Garcia used PEDs, right? And I'm so bored of this whole silly, my pre-workout was contaminated, my BCAAs were contaminated, I didn't know that I took it, oh, I took some supplements that someone gave me and I didn't know that it contained the substance. All of that is just a load of bullshit. Like, every fighter's used that excuse, oh, I ate something contaminated, beef, boar meat. I'm just sick to death of that dumbass excuse, right? It's so lame, it's so hackneyed, it's so quotidian. They don't even try to be creative anymore, right? They just say, oh, my pre-workout was contaminated. We all know that's a bunch of BS. So his best win, yeah, the video's still out there of him beating up Devin Haney, but he cheated. He had to cheat his way to victory, right? So I don't count that win at all. He has to go and fight Devin Haney straight up with the strictest Olympic style testing that money can buy for me to believe that he's actually a better fighter than Devin Haney. He has not proven that to me yet because he cheated, right? Then we move on to Rolly Romero. Ryan Garcia quit in that fight as well, right? He gets dropped, gets put down, and decides he's no longer going to engage. If you watch that fight, after he was dropped by Rolly Romero, he refused to engage. He refused to fight back. He went into self-preservation mode. That was his only objective. How do I not get knocked out and totally embarrassed in the middle of Times Square? So I'm just gonna survive, I'm just gonna move, I'm not gonna let my hands go, I'm just gonna lose on points. Because he knew if he took another shot from Romero, it was lights out, right? And again, this kind of proves that Ryan Garcia is the ultimate industry fighter, right? Because yes, Conor Benn obviously is the son of a legend, Nigel Benn. Yes, he's a silver spoon, Nepo baby who got a ton of opportunities that he didn't deserve because of who his dad was. I totally agree with that. However, Ryan Garcia is the ultimate industry plant, right? Yes, is there some ability? Yes. Does he have a strong amateur pedigree? Yes. Did he deserve a title shot against Rolly Romero? No. And he lost. What does the industry immediately do? They give him another title shot against Mario Barrios, a completely weak champion who drew with a 50-year-old Manny Pacquiao. This is the guy Ryan Garcia won his belt off of. Like, people say AJ won his first belt off of Charles Martin. One could argue that Charles Martin, pound for pound, is a better fighter than Mario Barrios. Barrios got beat up by an old Keith Thurman whose hairline is back here, got beat up, and a lot of people thought he lost against a 50-year-old Manny Pacquiao. And this is the best win on Ryan Garcia's resume. A Mario Barrios who's already been exposed as a weak champion. Every time he's fought at the top level, he's lost, right? He went life and death with old Ugas, who Errol Spence post-car crash dispatched of with relative ease. So Barrios is no great shakes. He's not a good champion. He won't be a Hall of Famer. and that's why he lost the belt almost as soon as he won it. And that's the guy who Ryan Garcia was given to win his belt. So yeah, Garcia's resume is stronger than Conor Benn's, right? But this idea that like he's this overwhelming favorite because he just has this amazing arsenal of skills. Yes, he's fast. Yes, he has a good left hook. But I don't know. His defense is still very leaky. He leaves his chin in the air often. And he doesn't have heart. When the going gets tough, he quits and he looks for a way out. And that's one thing you can say about Conor Benn. Yes, it's at a lower level, but Conor Benn has demonstrated that he has the heart. You either have it or you don't, right? It doesn't matter about the name. It matters about how you respond to adversity. Conor Benn has demonstrated that even when he's dealing with unfavorable conditions, he's still willing to fight. So that being said, I make Ryan a favorite, but I put it at 60-40. I don't see this huge gulf in class and ability and skill. I just see one guy who's fought at a higher level for sure, but he has not demonstrated amazing skill. And in the quote unquote biggest win of his career, he cheated by deliberately missing weight and using PEDs. But that's all for now, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm out. Remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.